It seems pretty good today. We're going to be, as you can see up here, looking at some of the EV names. One of the big ones that have been popping up is NIO. Even Tesla is starting to move. So we're going to be diving into this. And while we're at it, one of the things I want to show you, so that if anybody has any questions about who I am, where to find me, you guys can head over to, let's get that thing up. My computer's acting a little slow today. I got a lot of programs running. But you can find me over at profitpilot.com. So that's where we do the either media appearances, the newsletters that I write, and any of the products and services that you guys want to have. So we've been doing pretty well. Let's see here. There we go. Let's slide this over here so you can actually see it. This is the profitpilot.com website. That way you guys can figure out that you're at the right place and whatnot. And then if you guys are interested in the alert service that I do, you can come over here to the Moxie Mastery. This is the subscription. And then you can come over here to the class, which is where I sell the indicator, the class, the scanner, all that kind of stuff if you're interested in that. And so far we've been having a pretty good couple of weeks. So we're enjoying the market right now, and there's a lot of education. It's more than just an alert service. I don't just throw out some trades. I mean, obviously that's what I do, but there's also a lot of education. I tell people, I talk to people a lot. I'm really in high communication with everybody. So NEO, we've been looking at something like this for quite some time. And it took a little bit of patience. We kept thinking, okay, maybe the Chinese holiday is going to be what does it. Maybe it's going to be this. Maybe it's going to be that. Nothing really seemed to be wanting to move NEO on up. And what I was looking at though is, finally right here on the hourly chart, it was kind of filling that gap between price and the hourly 50. It finally came and tapped the hourly 50. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is going to be it. And then you can see, we got that move up, and it's like, okay, maybe that's going to be it. Nope, that kind of fizzled. And then the other day, another little pop, and you could see it actually started to move up on the 15-minute time frame. I thought, okay, maybe we're going to start getting going. Nope, one more time, price is going to come back down here. Probably going to check some stops, throw some people off. I mean, this is the market. The market's a little manipulated, they're trying to hurt as many people as possible, as often as possible, and make sure that nobody else gets it, but only they get it, whoever they is. So that's kind of what happens. Of course, doesn't this just you just gotta laugh and scratch your head sometimes, because doesn't this just look like what they would do? They're gonna drop it, bring it back down, bring in a little bit more fear, kind of scare you out a little bit, go underneath these moving averages, even like the hourly. You can see price underneath even the hourly 50 for a moment. And then, of course, the day before, news comes out about them finally saying something about their charging stations and whatnot. And then JP Morgan coming out with a $40 price target. So, and an upgrade. Go figure. Don't you just love the market? One thing we were looking at though, if you look at this previous high over here, about, I think it was $20.7, I don't know the exact cents, but about there, you could see that was the previous high, and this last pop up in price was actually using that as support. So this was a previous high, this was support area, and you can see there's a perfect line correlation with it, and so that's why I said, look, hey, we just got to hang on to this thing, we got to see what's going on. At some point this thing's going to pop, and here you go, it popped today, and that's really fun, so that's nice. And you can see price was riding the daily 8 the entire way. Yeah, Marina, good to see you. Teresa, always great to see you. Hope you all are taking advantage of moves like this with NEO. So yeah, this thing's going to be doing pretty well. I mean, look at the volume on this thing, 194 million shares so far. So this thing's pretty crazy. And with a price target of $40 with JP Morgan, whatever. Think about the EV space and what's going on out there. Even Tesla is starting to move. And we've been talking about this one for quite some time, actually. Within the Moxie group, within Simpler, we've been talking about this for a while. And I've been talking about it back here ever since price got on top of the 15-minute 50. And then you can see I even have a line here where price bounced off of the 15-minute 50 and the 8 was over the 21, and price bounced off of the hourly 50. So all that looking pretty good. Then you can see Moxie indicator went positive. That is what that green arrow is. So that tells me that according to the Moxie indicator, that momentum has finally gone positive. So that's great. And then you can see yesterday and the day before, price is really just flagging into the 15-minute 50, and today it continues. So I think the whole EV space and all that is starting to get some sympathy moves. Everything's starting to kind of move together. But this daily 8 and 21 situation looks pretty good, real healthy on that. And let's see, we can kind of go around to some of the other ones. Some a little bit more random names in the EV space is Solo. I tried trading this one back in the day, but then I kind of put my all my ducks into NICO. So I tried looking at this one right through there. I wanted to see if it was going to keep moving, but then you can see right in through here, this is where it actually wanted to go. So this is looking really good. And what you can also see is back when I was trading it here, I was trying to get price to pop back over the daily 50. Well, now we're doing it again. We're back over the daily 50. The 8 is over the 21. Even the hourly chart has the hourly 50 crossing over the 200. So this is fantastic. This one too, 14 million shares. Look at the volume. That is that's some really good volume that is coming into that. That is also why I tried trading it back here, because well, look at that volume. And then there's another spike and another spike. So it's been trying. It's been trying. And then if we look at let's go with there's a bunch of random ones. You guys just probably need to look up some FUV. A little bit random, but still, million shares, not too bad, a little bit cheaper. There's something there. So you can see here on the hourly chart, actually a trampoline move. So for those of you who don't know, who don't have the Moxie indicator or follow me with the Moxie subscription, a trampoline move is when price is below the 50, but the Moxie indicator is above 0. And you can see right here, price below the 50, Moxie indicator still technically above 0, and then you can see price popped. And what it do? Then it pulled back just a little bit to some support and then popped up again, and big volume the whole time on this, and that daily chart looking pretty good right there as well. And then FUTU is another kind of, oops, what did I push? Let's see, FUTU, hopefully we're still good. Okay. This one looks like it's taking a little bit of time, but it seems like it's trying. Hang on. Keep pushing the wrong buttons. Okay, then if you look here, let's kind of zoom in on this one. We've got that, here's price down, here's the Moxie indicator up, that's your positive divergence. Pops up, there's the Moxie price trigger, and then you can see it came back, and now it's sitting right back here on the hourly 50 and the hourly 200. So this might be something you want to keep in mind as well. And then another one that is actually KNDI. I've been mentioning this one a few times out there on some of the wires, and I've been using it as an example for overstock that I've been looking at. But you can see here that right in through here that price was trying to get past the daily 50, and then once it finally did, it popped up, came back a little bit, and right here it's been bouncing off of the daily 8 EMA, and look what it did. Yesterday into today, it bounced off of the hourly 50. So this thing's looking pretty good. Once again, looks like 7 million shares, so there's some pretty good volume that's happening on this today. And again, that's part of the EV, electric vehicle space. Now the one, let's kind of look at Workhorse. See what it's doing, because it did pop up the other day. They are trying to get some sort of deal or agreement with the Postal Service, USPS. And if that happens, that's going to be a big deal, because then the Postal Service is going to buy all their trucks and all that stuff and give them some legitimate backing. So Workhorse is definitely something to keep an eye on. And I was looking at this one right here as price was bouncing off of the hourly 200. It finally broke past the hourly 50. It got on top of the 15-minute 50. Look at this. The Moxie indicator was looking solid, and then it shot up for 2 days. Now, I don't know if the news kind of changed or something fizzled or whatever, but clearly price did not want to sustain. It didn't want to keep going. Part of the way I could see that here was price didn't even hold the 15-minute 50, and so it came back down. Now, big picture, it's still doing well. Big picture, the daily 8 is over the 21, and price is still coming into the daily 50. So all this is still looking pretty good. And if you're interested in something like this and workhorse, the electric vehicle space, all this, there is clearly interest in here because you can see, even back in the day, well, I guess I can't see it on that one. Let's look here. Let's see how many shares, 64 million, 62 million shares, 80 million shares on that big one. So there's a lot of attention for workhorse. So this might actually, I prefer to wait until I actually get price over these moving averages. So I can't exactly say for sure right now, but this might actually be a pretty good low buy if anybody is interested in looking for workhorse and kind of seeing where the trend might go. As I said, clearly there's some interest and activity with NIO. I think that might be about it as far as let's look at Nikola, see what's happening with it. Yeah, it's been struggling, of course. I think their CEO left, and yes, GM is working with them, but they're still their stock at least is still kind of struggling from all of that bad PR and publicity. Now, it's making some progress. This is technically a trampoline move on the hourly chart. Price below the 50, the Moxie indicator above 0. So it is trying, and the fact that it's kind of going sideways here could actually be constructive. Now, if it starts to come back down, I would be out of it. I'm not in it, but I would be out of it just because I don't want to be, seeing where it's going to go. If it does go down, it seems to me like it might want to retest some lows, kind of like that. Maybe 20 bucks, something to that area. Otherwise, if this kind of keeps holding up like this, then we can start seeing a move up. What will it do? Maybe it needs the 8 and 21 to get closer on the daily chart, and then maybe it's going to have to do something with the hourly 200 at some point. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that. All right, so yeah, Marina, let's see. Yeah, I'll look at some cannabis next. Well, Peter, if you come into my alert service, you get to see what I do. The 15-minute time frame is just to determine where a price movement actually starts. I do teach swing trading. We're clearly in NIO. We've been in it for a few days, and I think that my results speak for themselves. So if you want to come in and become a subscriber, you can come check it out and see exactly what kind of trading I do. All right, so CGC, as far as cannabis, there has been some activity. We've seen APHA start to tick up, and then I've been looking at some other ones like VFF and all that. So CGC, you can see in through here, 15-minute, there's your double, well, let me kind of draw that better. There's your double bottom right there. There's your positive divergence. And then right in through here, it starts to engage with the 15-minute 50. Then it uses the 15-minute 200 as support. And then, Peter, to your point, how about this? There is price bouncing off of the hourly 50 and the Moxie indicator went green. So if you want to ignore the 15-minute time frame, this is where you jump in on the hourly chart right there. And the 8 has been over the 21 the entire time. You can also use the 15-minute for guideline because it never even broke the 15-minute 50 to begin with. And this thing just went straight up. So far so good. We'll have to kind of see what this wants to do. It's a little overbought right now. I mean, clearly it's up there and extended, but let's see what it does in relation to the hourly 50. I imagine it's going to need to come back a little bit closer to the daily 8 EMA, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, there's a lot of volume on something like this. So if you didn't get it in now, there's usually another trade. In fact, I was just on Stock Charts TV or Stock Charts News, whatever program you want to call that. And I was talking about how a lot of these moves, you see a big move, you're like, oh man, I just missed that move. There's almost always a second place to get in and then a continued place. So if you guys, maybe we can send a link to this channel in the captions here or in the chat to where you guys can see that stock charts thing. And I was talking about how we can always find a second move. All right, and then, yeah, Wendy, GRWG, this is something that I'm taking a look at. And same thing here, kind of looking for a little bit of a move up. So there has been a bit of a spike in volume over the last, few days, last week, something around there. And you can see that was when price, right here, you can see the gray line and the previous price high, that price started to actually break out of it. Now, I did just go into this the other day because price has now pulled back into both the 8 EMA and that previous price high. And then the way I look at it is price also bounced off of the hourly 50. So those are all good things that I like. Now on the 15-minute time frame, You can see here it was actually running up into a downtrending 15-minute 50. I was thinking that maybe this was going to have a little bit more oomph today to keep going, but I set my stop below the 15-minute 200, you know, if that's going to be a thing, and then also below the hourly 50 to give this some room just like it needs today. So with the Moxie indicator still above 0 like this, that's telling me that the energy, the momentum is still positive. The daily Moxie is still positive, so that's good. And just like I was showing on Tesla and some of these other ones, this daily chart looks really good too, with that expanding 8 and 21 moving averages on the daily chart. So this is just a matter of it trying to find its footing and get going. And I would imagine, you know, price bouncing or coming into contact of the hourly 50 should continue to do it. So we're just going to have to give that one a little bit more room to kind of get back up there and do that. All right, let's see what else you guys are looking at here. And NEXCF. I don't even know what this one is, but wow. Is this EV space? I'll have to write this one down. Yeah, Idris, still popping due to Apple's presentation yesterday was catalyst for the AR sector. You want to give me a little bit more info on this one? Let's see, NEXCF. I always appreciate it when you guys bring me some fun-looking names. What is AR though? Augmented reality. Okay, so VR, virtual reality. But I guess augmented is going to be a little bit different, isn't it? Okay. Or is augmented reality how we are going to be starting to combine with machines and how they're going to be part of our brain? Is that more along the line? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So this whole process started here. Price down, Moxie indicator up. So starting to get some positive divergence. Let me actually put my cursor here so we can look at this a little bit right there so I know where I'm talking about. So right there, price down, Moxie indicator up, and it just couldn't hold the daily 50. Now, the way that I view that, like if you look right here, the reason why price could not hold the daily 50, and this is what I teach in a lot of my classes, so if you guys want to get a bigger and more in-depth view of how I look at this, notice that I could see that price was not going to hold the daily 50 because price was running right into a downtrending hourly 200. So that's why if you're looking at only one time frame, I really do feel that you're not seeing everything that you can be seeing out there in the market because you're only looking at one thing. And you'd probably be focusing on this saying, okay, price is going to bounce off the daily 50, price is going to bounce, and maybe it's going to. But then when it doesn't, you lose it. And so what I like to do is actually look down one lower time frame, and you could see right there that price was running into a downtrending hourly 50, which would pretty much make me think twice about the likelihood of price bouncing off of the daily 50. So that much, we go from there, we kind of look at this, I look at that as your level. You can continue to see positive divergence, and then look at this, my bread and butter setup. I love the trampoline move. And the trampoline move, let me kind of expand this so we can keep seeing it. The trampoline move is when price goes below the 50, but the Moxie indicator is still above 0. That is a high pressure, high buoyancy trade. Look right here. Price dipped below the 50, Moxie indicator still above 0. Boom. There's your trade. And that's your setup. And then, even through here on the 15-minute time frame, just to show you where it actually got started. And boy, I got to keep zooming in because this thing moved a lot. But look right here. You can see where did it start? Right there. See how price got over the 15-minute 50 and the 8 got over the 21, and this thing just started taking off, and you can see right there. So look, I've never seen this stock before. I haven't studied it, haven't looked at it before, but it follows the process and the rules that I trade and that I teach. And you can see even on the daily chart, the 8 was over the 21, and price was also over the daily 50. It just doesn't get any better than this. Never seen this stock before. And that's I was able to analyze it the exact way that I teach and that I trade. So maybe where you're asking is, where do you go from here? Yeah, good question. Let's kind of look out a little bit. There we go. Now, just understand, this thing is hellaciously overbought. Doesn't mean it can't keep going, right? Look at its history, okay? This thing can keep going. What I like to do is I like to follow the hourly 50. You can see here, price kept following the hourly 50 until it didn't. So that is one way to look at it. Also note that just since it has been up there, This might be a little bit of resistance here just because it's coming into the previous high. Anybody who bought up here is now going to be selling because they're like, oh, thank goodness I got my money back. So just kind of understand that you might be coming into some headwinds right there. And then it's very much extended. But keep following these moving averages, see if they keep holding the hourly 50, and then you can keep going from there. But yeah, thanks for bringing that to my attention. I'm going to have to keep that on my list and see what's going. Yeah, augmented reality. I'm going to have to look into that specifically to see what the definition of that is versus virtual reality. All right, yeah, let's get into, oh, you got another one, huh? Let's see. Of course, it helps if I have a pen that works. What is this? IPNFF. So I'll take a look at that one a little bit later and see what's going on. All right, and then OSTK. And then, so Peter, I would say that you attract more bees with honey. So it's beneficial if you're, nice to people when you talk to them instead of coming in with a little bit of an attitude, just saying. So overstock. If we come into something like this, let's kind of zoom in a little bit more. I am still looking at this as a potential trampoline move. You can see that on the daily chart that price is still kind of getting held up by the daily 50, but the daily 8 is over the 21. So the blue line is over the orange line. That is at least positive for the near term. And then what I'm looking at here is, I was looking at this yesterday, was a trampoline move. Price below the 50, the Moxie indicator above 0. And then, I would have liked it to start taking off today because yesterday was looking pretty good, but we're kind of still in the same boat. The Moxie indicator is still above 0, but price is dipping below the hourly 50. So at some point, it looks to me like this thing's going to finally catch some support and want to get up and push up through that. If you guys, let me show you kind of an example. If we look here at TDOC. You can see here, this one was looking, maybe a little problematic or a little bit worrisome. You're like, okay, when's this thing going to go? Yeah, never quite sure when they're going to go, but the same premise was here. You see how price was underneath the 50, but the Moxie indicator stayed above 0. It's a high pressure, high buoyancy situation. You can see that this daily chart looks very much like overstock. Granted, overstock has the daily 50 that it's still dealing with, but if this is not a good example of what I think overstock might do eventually, then, I don't know what else to show you. So we're going to be hanging on to overstock and seeing what we can do. Now, and I forgot who was asking me who, saw my stock charts episode that I put out there. You're talking about the first trade versus the second trade, or first entry versus the second entry. Now you can see here that overstock or TDOC did really pop, and yesterday wouldn't really be the best day to try and get into it because really kind of popped. What I like to do is say, well, the initial place that I can look for price to at least settle and see if it's going to hold is the 15-minute 50. So I like to blend my time frames like this, and you can see so far, and I like to wait till the end of the day, but so far it looks like the 15-minute 50 might be the place for price to hold and start to move up. If it isn't, then the next thing I'll be looking at is the hourly 50 for price to start to engage with and start to move up like that. All right, yep, so overstock, we got that. Okay, let's see. Well, I'll take a look at it. So let's see, IPNFF. So your best prediction, huh? How many what kind of volume does this thing have? Okay, so fairly low volume. Doesn't mean it's terrible. 360,000 so far. It can get up to 10 million. Okay, and I see what you're saying. Let's kind of look at this a little bit more. Now, I will say, just be careful. This is a penny stock. Yeah, it doesn't mean that it's terrible. It just means you got to be careful a little bit. That you can get some big percent swings, and a lot of people come in here and start messing with this stuff. So, I would like to try and get something once it actually starts to move. So I'd probably be looking at this once a day or setting an alert so if it starts to move. But yes, it does look pretty good. Same situation as Tesla and a lot of these other names that have been starting to move. The daily chart looks good. The Moxie indicator is above 0. The 8 is over the 21. Price is over the daily 50. You at least have everything moving up on the daily chart. So everything looks good on the daily chart. On the hourly chart, just kind of waiting. I don't see a trigger quite yet because, it's still just going sideways. Let me show you kind of what I'm looking at as far as a trigger, because I'm seeing it here. If you look back here on this last little pop up, what are we looking at? Look at this. Right here, the 8 got over the 21 and price started to get over the 50 and then over the 200. That was a pretty good situation, and look, Moxie indicator popped at the same time. Now let me show you one other thing that I'm looking at this, because this is kind of fun looking at some of these crazy stocks and seeing when they actually start moving. How about this one? We'll move back here and we'll show you this. Boy, I have to keep expanding this. Okay, we'll get there right there. Okay, so in this, I know this is a penny stock, this is crazy, but the structures are still there. This is the fascinating thing about stock trading and the way I read charts and all this, because it doesn't matter that this thing is worth 4 cents or it could be $400. The patterns are the same. The way I trade is still the same. And what you can see is right here, what happened? Price finally popped up. The 8 over 21, price over the 50. The Moxie indicator went positive. And then, just like your other one that I were talking about, how long do you stay in the trade? Well, as long as price can continue to follow the hourly 50 and the Moxie indicator is above 0, this thing should still keep going to the upside. And you can see, once again, the 8 got over the 21, and that was the beginning of that move. So, yeah, real interesting. And then if you look back here, 15-minute time frame on that first move, same process. The 8 got over the 21, price got over the 50, and this is the 15-minute time frame, got over the 50, then it got over the 200 also, and look at the Moxie indicator. Real nice and tight, green, positive, looking very good. So hopefully, this will be recorded, guys. You can take a look at this and see this over and over and over, the way that I talk about things. And basically, I've given you exactly what you should be looking for if this thing starts to pop up. So how about we do this? Let's set an alert right here, right there. And you could do at or above, and then I change the sound because I hate the bell. And then you go create. And that way, I could be out doing something else, and if price starts to move, I'll be notified, and then I can take a look at it and see if it's doing something I want to do. But so far, nothing's here yet. This 15-minute time frame still choppy. The Moxie indicator still not quite there. So keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. So, and Dario, glad you asked. The Moxie indicator, if you come over here to profitpilot.com, which is my website, you can come pick it up. You can get the class. You can see some of the videos and previews and stuff that I do about it. But the Moxie indicator is basically a momentum-based indicator. It tells me if energy is positive or negative, and then it helps me determine if something's going to move and when it's going to move, because it shows divergences, like positive divergence, lower price but higher Moxie. That's something to tell you that the internal energy and internal momentum is actually starting to change. So a lot of times, they say that price is king. Well, I kind of think price is a facade. So I like to use the Moxie indicator to tell me a little bit more about what's going on inside of it. I've got a scanner with it. I've got a watch list. I've got all sorts of tools that come with it that help me do what I do. And then the timing ability of it is amazing. I think you guys have seen that when the Moxie indicator goes green, you better keep an eye on it, and that's one of the scans I have. I have a scan for a trampoline move, which is my best trade setup, and then I have a scan for the Moxie price triggers that tell me when the Moxie indicator has gone positive. So some really interesting stuff out there if you guys are interested in looking at it. Joining the class, getting the indicator, and then joining the subscription service that I teach. All right, so that's pretty much my time. I hope you guys had a good Wednesday. Happy hump day. As I said, the EV market looks like it might be the place to kind of offset any pullback that might be happening in the market, which I just looked over my shoulder, and I see that indeed the market is pulling back a little bit, but is that too much of a surprise? If we see here, and we'll just kind of end with this, where was price in relation to the hourly 50? Really far up there. Where was price in relation to the daily 8? Really far up there. And then, Peter, this is why I use the 15-minute time frame. You see how price got rejected and trapped by the 15-minute 50 yesterday into today? So it gives me a little bit of an insight as to when and where and what price is going to be doing, and I can see it this way. So hope you guys all have a great rest of the day, and we will talk to you later. And good luck with catching the recording.